So, we are going to start chapter 5, that is ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning System. So, from this chapter onwards also that we are going to do some revision session. So, we will go with the slides. What is ERP? Enterprise Resource Planning. It's a kind of business process management software that allow an organization to use a system of integrated applications. So, there are some important things that you can remember. So, there are business processes. Every organization is having different business processes, and they want to make it automated in order to process their things. So, there can be HR system and procurement or finance. So, there can be so many other areas as well. So, all those areas has to be integrated, right. So, why you need the ERP is to manage the processes within the organization. So, when we talk about ERP, there are some prominent brand like SAP, Microsoft Dynamics 365, Oracle, JD, and likewise there are so many other softwares available in the market. So, in the ERP, sometimes based on the company's requirement, that has to be customized according to their requirement. And also there can be some different branches that has their own systems. So, those system also has to be integrated. So, ultimately when you use it for some period of time, that will reduce the cost, overall cost. But there are some kind of negativity also. Implementation is not very easy because all the processes are involved in this ERP system. Ultimately, this will affect to everybody. So, in the production process also, that increase the flexibility and also efficiency. So, it is a kind of software that make easy your processes. So, in the ERP, we can elaborate like this: finance, there is finance module, container management account, treasury management, inventory warehouse. So, these function can be differentiated from one company to the other. So, based on their requirement, that has to be customized. So, strategic enterprise management system, what are those? It's an ERP for making high level strategic decision. When the strategic decision has to be made by the high level management, so they need a software. So, they may have a ERP that support for their decision making process. And they have an extension of the balanced scorecard approach. If you see this balanced scorecard, these prominent things. So, finance, customer, learning growth, internal processes, so and also vision of the company. So, this vision will be achieved based on these categories, these pillars. So, it works as a balancing method. So, I am not going to explain further about this one. So, you can remember that in the strategic enterprise management systems, this balanced scorecard is used. Sometime that can be asked in the question paper as well. So, what is SAP? In the previous slide, I explained that there is one ERP called SAP. That is what we are going to explain here. So, that has 5 components: business planning simulation. So, that plan the business, so that look at the capacity and forecasting will be there, and there are so many other activities as well. And corporate performance monitor. So they look at the KPIs, and each of the division may have the KPI, whether it is achieved or not. That also will be monitored by the systems. And business consolidation. So actual result by company or segment, but also for simulating future scenarios. So it can merge with other processes and also some other parts of the organization as well. So that consolidate the businesses. There can be 2 or more business that also can be consolidated, that can be merged. So business information collection. So it is happening in an automatic way. So that collect all the business information into the system. And SRA is stakeholder relationship management, that manage the stakeholders. There can be customers and also employees also can be there, and those relationship will be managed. So in the ERP, in the SAP ERP, there can be presentation layer in the architecture and also application layer, database layer. So you don't want to worry about this, much about this architecture, because it's a technical thing. But for your understanding, you can remember that there can be a presentation layer, that is the computer that you are using. So that present you the system. And also there is an application layer that has the work processes. So inside this server, so there is a server. Inside this server, this application is running. So everybody is connected to this one. And also there is a database layer. The database are separately located, and all the information are stored there, and also retrieved from this database to the server and then to the computers. So this is a simple architecture that I have shown here. So before that, I want to explain something in the board. Let's say we have a company called ABC. That company has HR system that is already running, and that company has their let's say procurement system. So they have already developed this one as per their requirement. Now you are going to implement let's say ERP. So this ERP also may have different let's say finance module can be there, and also CRM, customer relationship management, and also logistic, and likewise there can be so many elements. Let's say there can be a department, in the finance department they have their own application, a software platform. So this ERP has provided. So let's say the organization purchase ERP is SAP. So they have this one. But other than that organization may have their own system which they have developed by themselves. Right? And as an example, in CSC Lanka, they have an examination system. Right? That is their own system that they have developed. So this is a product that we have brought from the market. So we are going to integrate this one. This part will be integrated to this ERP. Then this whole system is also called as ERP. So normally when most of the organizations going to implement new ERPs, there can be their own system which they have developed during the past period of time, and that can be operating in a very fast, very good manner. but they want to buy a new system which accommodate much other more other functionalities. Then you can buy a ERP and integrate with those systems. So that's a small introduction I have given in the board. So let's go to material requirement planning. What is this MRP 1 and MRP 2? It's actually a technique for deciding the volume and timing of material in manufacturing conditions. In a manufacturing environment, in a factory, let's say in a factory, so they have to decide the volume of material and at what time it should be required. So that is called material requirement planning. So that is planning what? Material requirement. There can be different material that may required in some volumes. It means 1000 material from material A, the 5000 material from unit from material B. Likewise, there can be requirement in materials. So that has to be planned. So purpose of MRP 1 is that to calculate the quantity of material, the requirement, the volume will be calculated, determine when they will be required. There are only two things that you require: the volume, that is the quantity, and also time. Quantity and time, those are the main thing which is available in MRP 1. So in the question paper also, if somebody they may have asked, there are two main purposes in MRP 1. What is that? Quantity and timing. What is MRP 2 is? So inside this MRP 1 is the 2, MRP 1 also there. It's a plan for planning and monitoring all the resources of a manufacturing company. So in manufacturing company, that in the MRP 1, what it does is that it calculates the quantity and also timing, but other than that, this other processes also will be managed by this MRP 2. So that can be a computerized system that incorporate a single database. There can be a single database in the system. So it's a computerized system. So that enable optimal inventory control based supply and demand. So bill of material, capacity planning, and capacity requirement planning, forecast demand and supply. When in next few weeks what will be the requirement that can be forecasted, and purchasing, inventory control, order entry, operational control, financial analysis. Those are the things that can be done from this MRP 2. So I think that it's very clear to you now. Let's go to the principle of ERP. ERP for what? To measure performance, and also it is to integrate with other system. There are two principles that measure the performance and also integrate with other systems. As I said you in the previously I have given example in the board that showed that they have their own system. Let's say CSE Lanka may have exam system and also some other system for procurement or something like that. So those two systems already developed by the company, so that is running well. So they want to integrate with the ERP that you are going to purchase. So that integration is there. So these are the two principles you can remember. Major component of ERP system. So as I explained you that these are very simple terms and the areas that you can understand. The finance. So ERP can handle finance. There can be a for accounting purposes. There can be a finance system inside this ERP, and also management accounting, and that provide the cost schedules, budget, variance report. So that present the accounting information in the form most helpful to management. So that provides much more information to the management to decide what they want to do. And treasury management and inventory management, HR, human resource management, sales and distribution, procurement, master data management. So they are not only these areas, there can be some other component as well. And treasury management, HR, so we talk about treasury management. And should the firm borrow from the bank or raise fund by issuing shares? So the treasury, the money that available in the market, so in the organization, so they have to decide what to do, whether they invest in the bank or they raise, they issue shares, and how much should be paid as a dividend. So what is the dividend rate? And spend money on new machinery, whether you spend money for new machinery or you hire the machinery based on the money, the capacity, money wise capacity that you have in the organization. So those things can be analyzed by the ERP. And also HR plannings for next few years. So what will be the requirement of HR, that also can be planned. So it's normally known as workflows force planning. And sales and distribution, in next few years the sales and distribution will be this much. Let's say today that you have 1,000 of goods produced by the manufacturing environment, but later on, after about 5-4 years, so that should be in the volume of 10,000 or 20,000 based on the data that you have. So you are analyzing the future. And also based on customer sales activity, you can do many things using this ERP. And also procurement also can be done through the system. And what are the advantages of ERP? So we will simply go with this. Components are in visual characteristics, and it helps initial configuration of the system, training users in multiple areas of the system. So that give a visual characteristic. Earlier you may had the processors in manually, but now it has came into a pictorial way, in the visual way into the machines. Now you can do your own processes through the system. And maintaining data centrally, that all the data which is captured from different softwares available in the organization. So that can be a procurement system in the procurement division, finance system in the finance division, marketing system in the marketing system. So all those the data will be captured and stored in a central database. And business process flow from start to end seamlessly. So business process, there's a process. So let's say as an example, simple example, when you register as a student in the Sri Lanka, so you will first go to the registration division, get the application and register as a student. Then your details will be captured there, and thereafter what you do is you have to apply for the examination. You apply for the examination, those data, your registration data then captured by the examination division, because it is integrated. Now is a ERP, so those data will be captured and that will be processed. So and also thereafter payment also will be there. That will be done by the cashier. So cashier will when you apply for the examination, when you paid for the examination, that appears in the system. Then automatically go to the finance division for accounting purposes. And also then when the examination is scheduled in the systems, that automatically calculate the requirement for conducting the examination, also other human resources, and there can be many requirements. So after that you will sit for the examination, your result will be series, so everything will be happening in the system. And thereafter until you become the member, there is a process. So that process, the business process, so this process will be handled by this system. Reporting can be integrated in real time. In the real time, the reporting can be seen. You don't want to analyze the data, that can be automatically taken by just clicking by your mouse. Business intelligent ERP system contribute to the application and infrastructure which enable business intelligent data analysis. There can be so many data analysis techniques embedded in these systems. So, using those you can analyze the data. And also that can be engaged with the external system as well. So, disadvantage. What are the disadvantages? So, the main thing is the cost. So, normally ERP is very high cost. Normally SAP is the highest one that at the moment in the market. So, most of the people will fail. Some of the organization has been failed because of ERP, because they have invested much more money for ERP, ultimately because of that cost that can be failed. And also implementation time. Sometimes based on the available processes in the organization, that can take more time, or sometimes that can take less time. But normally it takes a lot of time to implement the system. So, adaptation to the demand. So, when you are going to implement the ERP system, sometimes that is not exactly match with your requirement. Sometimes you will have to adjust your requirement with the system. So, you have to adapt to the system. So, but most of the people in the organization, they do not like to adapt to the system. They are always complaining this system is not working, but the processes that you have been doing in manually, now you can do in system. So, it means there can be a easiest of doing that. So, problem of one function can affect all the other functions. Let us say the registration division in the CS Sri Lanka registration division system is failed. So, they cannot register the student into the system. So, can the examination division conduct the examination? No, can't, because they do not have the initial data which fed by the registration division. Likewise, if one function is failed, that affect to all the other functions as well. Switching cost is very high. So, let us say that you want to change your requirement, you want to switch from one requirement to other. So, then the cost is very high. If you want to add or integrate another system with this ERP, sometimes the cost is very high. And also if you are going to change some requirement, some system functionalities, that the cost will be high. Unclear boundaries can have many issues in supply chain. So, unclear boundaries. So, in the supply chain, it goes in a deep analytical way, because there can be so many functions, the processes inside one process. So, if all the boundaries are not communicated to the people who implemented the system, ultimately you do not know that you have implemented the system, but some of the functionalities that required by this company will not be processing, because you have not initially said what your requirement is. So, unclear boundaries can be there, especially in the supply chain, that can happen. You are sending one good to the other places, due to some disaster issue also, some kind of problem can happen. Right. How technologies can be used by an accounting or financial professional in decision making system. So, when selecting and reviewing a system, so why we need this ERP for financial people? Especially they require the data which receive from one department to other, and also from all the department data will be captured in a central database in the ERP. So, that is available there. and also when budgeting, costing, so those things can be used by the financial people. Let's say the accountant, he may need some financial figures to be analyzed. So he may need data which come from production environment and also procurement and so many activities. So through the system he can do many things, and also in decision making they can use this data because it is available in real time. Think that you are you are an accountant in the organization, you don't have any systems, so you have to work manually with the books and ledgers and so many other the hard documents. So it is not easy. So when the system is implemented, see how it is easy for you to see the result. Sometimes you may spend about 2-3 days to do some tasks in manually, but once it is implemented in the ERP, you can get it done within 1 hour, 2 hours, like that. Okay. Now chapter 5 is finished. Now we go to the chapter 6, that is Introduction to E-Business. E-commerce versus e-business. There are two things, that is, one is e-commerce, the other one is e-business. I will first explain the similarities. For both of these, internet is used. So both of these are used internet. So in e-commerce, in the simple term that you can apply, what is e-commerce is to buy and sell product and services. Is the use of electronic techniques including the internet to buy and sell product and services. Through the internet you are going to buy and sell product, that is e-commerce. In e-business, what is that? Use of electronic techniques including internet to transform or change key business processes. In order to change the key business process, through the internet, this e-business is used. So we will go to the other slide that you can understand very clearly. E-business process include what? Online marketing. In the e-business, online marketing is there. Online selling. So marketing also will be done online, or selling also will be done online. So today you have the YouTube and also Facebook, Instagram, so many other platforms. So through those platforms you are doing the marketing, also selling also you can do through the online. So you have an online platform, through that you sell the product. And payment also now it is online. You can using the card that you can pay through the online. And supply chain and channel management. So that also will be on online mode. So you can see online where is your product, where it is located now, and when will it will be delivered to me. And manufacturing and inventory control, that also can be held in online mode. And financial operation, employee workflow procedures. So these are the processes, especially involved in the e-business. 4 stages in introducing e-business. What are the 4 stages? Now we are going to introduce e-business into your organization. Now your business is going on manually, now you are going to have it on online mode in the e-business. Your business or the whole system processes are, now you are going to have it on online. So what do you need now? As the first one, you need the web present. You have to present in the web. It means from the web pages that provides the relevant information about the organization, its product and services. So you are available in the web now. That is the number 1. So business e-commerce. In this e-business, e-commerce is a part of that. So, basic e-commerce now you are going to integrate. What is that? The organization makes purchase from its supply online, allow its customer to place orders, pay from their online. So, online transaction is now doing through e-commerce. Now you are going to pay online, and also suppliers also contacted and they also involved with you through online. Now e-commerce is there. That is number 2. Integrated e-commerce. What is this? The organization uses electronic technology to develop close relationship. Now integration is there. The close relation with its customers and supply, improve customer relationship management. Now you have a system, web present, you have a website. Now e-commerce is integrated, e-commerce is there. Now you are going to make relationship with the customer. So you are giving access to the customer to log into a system, do the purchasing, and also other that sometimes there can be some people who sell the product, those also can be involved with your system. And then we come to e-business. The organization operating system are fully integrated and require little human interaction. Now all the operations are integrated now, and then you don't need much more human resources to operate that. Now it is online. Now all these 4 stages are known as the 4 stages of e-business. It is the establishment of e-business. Type of e-commerce. Then we come to e-commerce. So we discussed about that your organizations have business. Now you are developing to e-business. Now there are e-commerce, the transaction thing, how it happened. There can be 4 types. So these 4 types earlier also I have explained very clearly with some pictures, and so there can be B2B, business to business. One business will deal with other business, transaction will be going from one business to other business, one company to another company, and B2C, one business to consumer, and then consumer to business, that is C2B. C2C is consumer to consumer. So I am not going to explain this in detail, but this B2B things that we can explain a little bit. So stages of B2B development, emission postcard. The company begins by creating an informational website for its client. Firstly, they will do a informational website. Then interaction, using the internet for interaction with customers such as email, customer survey, feedback. So you are going to interact with the customer now. Now you have a web present, that is the information website you have. Through that you are going to interact with the customer. You are sending emails, and also customer surveys also can be there done, and also feedback also can be embedded in this website. So, and then the transaction, the use of internet to take manage and support transaction with customers such as online ordering system. So transaction pillar is here. So then collaboration, the use of the internet to provide inter-organizational activities. So within the organization there can be so many activities. So those things can be interrelated, that can access and utilized by the company and its trading partners. So that you are open to your trading partners as well. Now it is the collaboration that you are going to build up. So I think it's clear to you now. So some kind of B2B application, supply chain management, CRM, e-procurement. Okay, e-commerce strategy. What is e-commerce strategy? Why need the e-commerce strategy for a business? In the e-commerce strategy, we talk about some kind of importance. What do customers want to buy from us? What customer want? Before you develop a e-commerce strategy, you have to understand these things. What are those? What the customer required? What he required? what type of product. Likewise, the requirement can be defined. What business should be in? What type of a business now we are going to implement? What kind of partners might we have? So, what are the integration that we should have with other partners? And what categories of customers do we want to attract and retain? So, what is the category of customer, whether it is very young customers or very elderly customers or geographical located customers, or let us say that beer manufacturing company, they may their target market is the people who are more than 18 years old. So, likewise, so you have to decide what categories of customers. So, based on these things, you can develop your e-commerce strategy. 3 interconnected levels of e-commerce strategy. What are these 3 interconnected levels? Level 1, 2, 3. Let us talk about this. The simple introduction of new technology to connect electronically with employees, customers, suppliers. So, you are going to connect automatically, electronically, right. The second level 2 is recognition of the workforce, processes, system and strategy in the order to make best use of the new technology. So, recognition. So, there is a recognition that is going to develop. And then level 3, repositioning of the organization to fit into the emerging economy. So, you are repositioning the economy in the market. So, these three things are interconnected. Those are the level. Virtual organization. Before COVID-19, you are not familiar with this virtual organization environment. But now everybody is aware of what is virtual organization is. Actually, you are also doing that sometimes. Let us say I'll draw in the board. So, let us say CA Sri Lanka. This is CLA Sri Lanka. In a case that due to COVID-19, the CA Sri Lanka cannot work physically, right. Then it have finance division, exam, likewise so many other divisions, right. Now, there are people who work in each division, right. Now, early in the morning, now what you do is, you come to this organization, that is CA Sri Lanka, you go to the exam division, finance division and you work there, you physically work. Let us say CA Sri Lanka does not have any address, it does not have any physical location. So, you are going to work remotely. Then the finance people, there can be so many finance people in the finance division, they have their laptop at home. So, they make their office in their home, and there is a system, through the system that you log in and you work. So, it is like a virtual environment. So, you are working virtually, you do not have any physical presence. Likewise, sometime I do not know whether you have heard or not, there are some universities that has no any addresses, but they are registered universities. I am not remember the name of those. So, those universities give some certifications to some of the students who have registered with them, and they teach remotely. they register the student to the organization, and they give their registration number and everything, and they register with the institute, then they study, they register with the course and they study. So there is no any physical person, it means there is no any physical organization. Likewise, through the internet, in this slide you can see, through the internet everybody is connected, they are working remotely. So that is the work of the organization. Employees are spread geographically, and geographically dispersed individuals, group and organization unit. So it's a collection of geographically dispersed individuals. Individuals are dispersed, located in different areas, they are connected. So they don't need any physical environment location, so they work remotely. In nowadays, this mechanism is implemented in everywhere, because it's reduce the cost. Let's say if this CSC Lanka is electricity bill, if you take per day, that can be a very huge amount. But if you work remotely, they don't need electricity. So likewise, there can be so many cost factors that you can save, and that's a temporary character. Those are the features of that network to link people, asset and ideas. So Amazon also are a kind of a virtual organization, and no limit to traditional organization boundaries. There is no limit. You don't need to physically locate. You can even reach the global market instantly, and use the capability of other people capabilities also can be captured. So building an e-commerce strategy. So we talk about how to develop an e-commerce strategy. What are the things required in the e-commerce strategy? So how we will now talk about the building of an e-commerce strategy. Earlier we talked about not building. We talk about e-commerce strategy features, customer want, what business, kind of partners and categories of customers categories. Now we are going to build a e-commerce strategy. In the building an e-commerce strategy, you have to concern about these things. The first one is suitability. Your business should be suitable for e-commerce, right? Sometimes there can be some businesses that is not suitable in the in e-commerce. Acceptability. The e-commerce strategy must be acceptable to important stakeholders. The stakeholders should be accepted the e-commerce strategy that you are going to develop. So you have to concern these things when developing an e-commerce strategy. Feasibility. It should be feasible. Feasible is a matter of resources, skill, labor needed to establish an administrative website. So there should be skilled laborers. It means there should be people who need to administer a website, and there should be knowledgeable people to develop those systems. And launch the website to a restricted number of potential customers. Ensure satisfactory. First of all, without implementing it at once to all the customers in public. So you are giving it to the potential customers and allow them to use the system and see what are the issues coming on. Then you can do the required changes and launch it again. Okay. Features of e-business and internet. With the e-business and internet with differentiation from the traditional offline business models. So these are easy things you can read and understand also. Challenges traditional business model. In traditional business model, there were so many challenges. All these things were handled manually. Interact directly with customers. No middlemen were there. In the e-business, there can be no middleman. Sometimes the middlemen are earning more than the developer. So there can be a product that developed by some person, but there can be a middleman who purchased that product from that developer and then sell it to somebody else. So the middlemen are involved and they increase the prices. Small companies can move instantly into global marketplace because small companies also go globally. They can sell the product to the other countries as well. Much information are free, speed of communication, 24-hour access is there. There is no any close time. Normally, the physically organization physically located, and also they may have physical person to the customer. The customer has to see whether the company is open at this time or not. But in e-business, it is open 24-hour basis. Even though you can log on to the website at 12 o'clock night and purchase some goods that can be delivered by tomorrow morning then. New and cheaper network communication, new business partnership. So you can actually read and understand these things. So I am going to the next slide now. E-procurement. In the e-business, this is a very good initiative. And also this is heavily used. What is e-procurement? What is e-procurement is? You know procurement, right? So E means electronically procure. So electronic platforms are embedded into procurement. E-procurement includes the electronic exchange of commercial document, such as purchase orders, purchase confirmation, delivery advices, purchase invoice. All these things are happening electronically. So what are those models? Public web, individual buyers find individual suppliers. Exchange, no structural relationship. Supplier centric can be there. Buyer centric. B2B marketplace. So those are the models that you can understand easily. So I am going to the next slide, then you can understand easily about procurement. So these things that you can remember the models in the e-commerce, e-procurement. Benefit of e-procurement. Are there any benefit when the procurement is done in electronic way? Are there a benefit? Yes. Number one is cost reduction. Process efficiencies, reduction in the actual cost of goods and services, and reduce purchasing agent overhead. Normally agent overhead are there. You will have to pay for the agent as well, but that is eliminated. The cost can be reduced. Reduce inventory level. You don't need to keep much more inventory. So let's say in a manufacturing environment, the production process, they develop, let's say, about 1000 goods per hour. 1000 unit will be developed per hour. So those production quantity will be calculated automatically by the system, and that appeared in the procurement division. Then procurement division know how many units that they will develop, and then automatically the requirement of materials also will be appeared. For this much of products are developed, this much of materials are used, then and then you have to purchase this much of materials to do the production in next few weeks. So those details are appeared automatically in the system. Then you know what is the production requirement weekly, daily, and then you don't need to keep much more inventories in the environment, in the production environment. So you can automate that when you have agreement with the suppliers. When the systems are integrated with their system, automatically the purchasing orders will go to those companies. So they know that within this week the company A that we are going to supply the materials, they required about 1000 of materials to produce their products. Therefore, they what they do is they automatically send the goods to the companies. So, inventory is easy, not like that you do not need to have very big warehouse to keep inventories. Control inventories more effectively. So, there is a system you can have the inventories and that can be controlled. Wider choice of suppliers everywhere in the world. You do not need to rely on one supplier or two supplier. You do not need to rely on Sri Lankan supplier. You can go with the other foreign supplier. They can give at very low cost. Let us say based on the dollar rate of each of the countries, some of the product that you are going to buy from country A can be less in country B. Let us say you are going to purchase some product materials from Sri Lanka. Sometimes there can be some materials which developed by Maldives or some other countries. So, those materials can be purchased at very low cost. So, it is open now. Improved manufacturing cycles can be improved. E-sourcing, so we will talk about e-sourcing in the next slide. Risks of e-procurement. What are the risks? Control, unauthorized purchases. There can be some people who are not authorized to purchase some products, but they can do it online. So, there is an issue. And sometimes the order can be very high. Now, you know that what is the requirement in Sri Lanka. In the Sri Lankan market, you know that it is enough for you to produce 10,000 units per month. But when you are open to the market in e-commerce, through e-commerce, what will happen is the foreign buyers also do some purchase orders. Then the quantity can be very high. You cannot actually say today this month that I need to develop 10,000 unit or 20,000 unit, because it is open to the world. Now they can do purchases as they want. So, required quantity cannot be matched, and also the required quality. So, sometimes when there are large purchases, the procurement, we cannot exactly match the required quality. So, that is an issue. And organization risk. Sometimes users may not adapt to it well. They do not like to use the e-systems, reject the technology. Technical issues, due to technical failures, both process can be fail. Let us say if the e-procurement system is fail, if you are authorized to purchase only through e-procurement system, if it is fail, if the server is fail, what will happen is you cannot purchase. Then orders will not go automatically to the suppliers. Then production process also will fail. Ultimately, everybody will not be having any work in the organization. They will be idle. Data security. Spending online means dealing with the security issues. Data security, spending online. So, people are going to pay online. So, there can be hackers, they can go inside to these payment portals as well. So, there can be security issue. Management losses, spending control. Management will lose decision making control over who spend how much on what. So, you cannot limit it because you are open to the world. Now, everything will be happen electronically. Supply chain problems can be there, even though you procure the units, the materials through a procurement system due to some supply chain problems that will not be received to your organization due to disaster issues. So, there can be many issues. E-sourcing versus e-procurement. What is e-sourcing and e-procurement? E-procurement refers to sales and purchase through web. So, through the web you are going to do sales or purchase. You are going to sell or purchase through a web. That is e-procurement. Right? E-sourcing is the process of taking bids and offers from the supplier by a web-based online portal. So, you have a web-based portal, it means the website. From the website you are going to open for suppliers to bid. Bid means that normally that let's say you want to buy a let's say if it is a car manufacturing company, they want to order some tires. They want to purchase some tires for their cars. What they do is they open the requirement. It means the requirement specification, SRS, bid requirement. Normally SRS means in the software that we use it in the bid requirement. The requirement specification is there. The requirement specification will be prepared, and that has the information about how many tires that they need. So, that will be open to the suppliers. What they do is they bid. They put their they send their purchase orders through the e-procurement system. So, then that will be evaluated by the company, and after evaluating they will purchase. So, those are the two things. So, if it is asked in the question paper, the difference between e-procurement and e-sourcing, you have to remember this. Let us say they will ask, process of taking bid and offers from supplier is e-procurement, whether it is true or false. So, you have to understand these two concepts. Sales and purchase through web is e-procurement. Process of taking bids and offers from suppliers is e-sourcing. So, that is the difference, right?